highlights. The questions burning up the sports world get answered right here. This isn't just another recap. It's the sports answer. And leading the charge, sharp, fearless, and always bringing the edge, your host, Rudy Campos Jr. If you're talking sports, you better have the sports answer.
Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Answer. It's Rudy Campos Jr. Going to be joined by a very special guest here from Grading the Market, Jacob Canziano. We're going to bring him on in just a second. Before we do, Salem Surround, 210-526-3635. Give them a call today for your marketing needs. If you don't want to pick up that phone and make the phone call, it's easy. We've got that QR code right up there at the top. Click that QR code. It'll take you to the website. It'll take you to salemsurround.com/San Antonio. Your business does not need to be in a chaotic spin like the college football playoff series is about to be in. Call them today. Salem Surround, 210-526-3635. Proud sponsors of the Sports Answer. The biggest sports question this weekend: who gets left out of the CFP in the top 12? Well, there was a lot of doings yesterday. We had the Duke Blue Devils upsetting Virginia in the ACC title game. Alabama becomes a 3-loss team with another loss to Georgia in the SEC. Where does that leave James Madison? We've got one bowl prediction, one CFP prediction that's already been released, and I absolutely hate it, but we're going to get into that. Also, Giannis Antetokounmpo, a Spur. He's kind of already made a mention in the summer that he wants to leave. It looks like it's going to happen maybe by the trade deadline. Good or bad move for the Spurs? That is the Spurs Cheeseman today. And then we will be doing our Week 14 NFL selections. Let's bring in our guest now. That is the one and the only Jacob Canziano of Grading the Market, where you can find Grading the Market on YouTube. All you have to do is search Box Score Studios TV. You'll find Grading the Market there with Jacob and Anthony. Welcome to the Sports Answer, Jacob.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. We got to get into some college football here because the CFP just went crazy yesterday. First and foremost, the team that, if you listen to myself and Coach Dio and Derek Irvin for a few years now, you know we've been big on Indiana Hoosier football. Coach Dio mentioned that Indiana is going to be one of the top teams in the country because of Curt Cignetti, who we're going to pop up his press conference here in a minute to give you a little quote from there that I love to death. They go in, they defeat Ohio State last night 13-10. Big Ten champions, number 1 seed on the line between Ohio State and Indiana. Indiana, you know, they didn't look dominant, but they didn't have to do. They just got the job done over Ohio State. Fair enough to say that we think Indiana and Ohio State is going to be 1 and 2 coming into the CFP.
I believe so. Still going to be the same thing, but it was a little bit of a shocker. I thought the Buckeyes were going to be able to finish off undefeated, but nevertheless, it happened.
It happened. You know, the Buckeyes were probably the most dominant and most talented team in college football, but these Indiana Hoosiers, man, Curt Cignetti, as we mentioned, you know, the quote of all quotes, "I win, Google me." That was at his initial press conference. I mean, Curt Cignetti's done a fantastic job. He's done an amazing job. Love everything about Curt Cignetti. He's been rumored to go to all these other places. Nah, he's staying at Indiana. Indiana is going to be a powerhouse for a very long time. They should be the number 1 overall seed. I kind of agree that Ohio State probably should be number 2. I think they fall to number 3 with Georgia's win over Alabama. So I think Georgia becomes number 2. Could Ohio State fall to number 4? I don't think so. I mean, Texas Tech, I think, stays at 4. But nonetheless, Ohio State will either be 2 or 3 going into the CFP. Speaking of the SEC, what do you got, Jacob? You got something?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a little bit of chaos with everything that happened yesterday. As a matter of fact, I think that later on today, we're going to find out how everything's going to fall. Am I right?
Yeah, so the final CFP rankings do come out today. I want to say it's at noon, but don't hold me to fire on that. But the final CFP rankings do come out today. You want to stay tuned to the 4-letter network to watch those CFP rankings come out. Another chaos thing that happened yesterday. Now, this is where it first started. Georgia beat Alabama. Now, everybody has Georgia and Alabama still in the CFP Final 12. Georgia should be number 2, no lower than 3. But Bama is a 3-loss team now, and people feel like this should really drop them out, and Miami, who's a 10-2 team, should go over Alabama. But what fans don't realize is Alabama was 8, Miami was 14 in the rankings. Bama didn't lose a bad game to Georgia. So, I mean, well, a bad team is what it is. I want to say that Bama drops to 10, and that keeps them into the CFP. So, I'm going to just ask a blunt question here for you. It's a simple yes or no. If you want to, you want to elaborate a little bit, does Alabama stay in the Final 12?
Well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw on my Texas hat, even though I'm not really a fan and stuff like that. But I'm going to back them up. Hey, I thought that we weren't letting a 3-loss team get in. I thought we talked about that earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago and stuff like that. They were three-loss team. No, you can't be in there a couple of days ago and stuff like that. Rather, but no, I don't know, man. It's, like I said, it's definitely chaos today. It's going to be interesting, but it's going to be not. This happens every year, Rudy. When
Yeah.
something like this happens, somebody's going to be on the outside looking in, and they're going to be upset and stuff like that, and ma- trying to prove why they should be in and stuff like that. But I mean, it's fun to watch. But so um, I'm a true believer if a 3-loss team should not be in there. So if Bama, I mean, those those are the rules. I didn't make them, and when I say those are rules, quote unquote rules and stuff like that, just giggling and stuff.
So you make a fascinating point, and I'm going to say fascinating point because you mentioned a 3-loss team. Texas was a 3-loss team. Bama's now a 3-loss team. Texas lost to Ohio State and Georgia.
Hmm.
Those are the ranked teams that Texas lost to. Alabama lost to a ranked Georgia for last night's SEC title game and
Hmm.
a ranked Oklahoma team. Oklahoma team that Texas ended up beating in the Red River rivalry. Now,
Hmm.
the only bad losses were Bama lost the very opening day on opening night against Florida State, which everybody had Florida State as one of the top teams in the country. Texas lost to Florida, another team that was kind of up and down, but not as good as Florida State. Both are two bad losses for both teams. But then you kind of go to strength of schedule. Bama played Vanderbilt, Missouri, Tennessee, a tough South Carolina team. But here's the kicker, Jacob. They beat Georgia in week 4.
Hmm.
So that's why Bama will get the nod over Texas, and Texas will be, a 3-loss team that's out. Does that get Bama in? This is where it comes down. This is where it gets a little tricky because then you've got, Notre Dame just ahead of Bama, but then you've got Miami who beat Notre Dame, saying, "Well, we should be in. We're a 10-2 team. Bama's a 3-loss team. How can they be in?" See the chaos, man. See the chaos. We're gonna embrace the chaos here. We're gonna give you some CFP rankings here in just a little bit, but the chaos of all chaos. I am a North Carolina Tar Heel fan. Blue all the way through, and seeing this really hurt me, but it kind of made me a little giddy because with Duke's upset over Virginia, Duke thinks, hey, we're the ACC. We're going to get an automatic bid to the CFP. As Lee Corso says, not so fast, my friend. You have 5 losses. If we're not letting a 3-loss team in there who has a better strength of schedule, there is no way in hell we're letting a 5-loss team in there. And as you can see, that is the image there. The CFP in shambles, the Duke Blue Devils laughing. There is absolutely no way you feel a 5-loss team gets in there. I mean, I don't
No,
care if you win this conference title. There's no way to get in there.
no, and this, like I said, once again, this kind of chaos happens every single year. I'm here for it. Hey, but they're definitely gonna have to fix it. They're gonna have to do something about this. You know what I mean? Um, it gets a little too confusing.
Yeah.
Uh, Nobody knows, like, oh, okay, what are the rules of how you can get in, who can't, and stuff like that. But hey, like I said, later on today, once everything finally comes out, we're going to see some fan bases coming out saying, hey, throwing tomatoes. Why can't we get in? What about us? What about us? What about us? It happens every single year, Rudy. Nothing new.
Yeah, and I like this because the fact of Duke does win the ACC, they're a 5-loss team. The ACC will have 0 teams in the conference final. I mean, the college football playoffs because the only team that could get in technically is Miami. and we're going to see if Miami makes that jump. I don't think they do. I really don't think they do. They were a 2-team loss, but they were ranked 14. I can't see them jumping 4 spots. Alabama dropping out of the top 10. I just do not see that. So Duke put a damper on everything. What does that mean? So
Wait. Real quick, I have a question for you. So with
sure.
that, you saying that, so you think Alabama's still going to be in there?
My rankings are actually very similar to what ESPN rankings came out early this morning. I have Bama in there, actually. I do have Alabama. I have Alabama as the 10th team in there
All right.
right now. I mean, that's where I stand put on it. I think everything stays the same. I think Notre Dame and Alabama do get in. I don't I don't like the fact. Here's my thing is that I don't think Miami has looked good all season. And Notre Dame does play a cupcake schedule. They're an independent school. I feel that Notre Dame needs to be forced to join a conference and then be a part of that kind of thing. Hey, if you're that good through and through, there's no reason why you should be an independent team scheduling a lot of these games that you shouldn't be scheduling. I feel like they should be in a conference and earn their right into the CFP. That's a whole different argument for another
Yeah.
day. But at the end of the day, I really do think Alabama wins, and I'm gonna say as in, and I want to say because Duke ended up beating Virginia, we're gonna see James Madison University as the number 12 team, along with Tulane, who won the American. Those are going to be your last two in Tulane, James Madison University, the Sun Belt Conference champions. Now, are they going to go into the CFP and dominate? No, I don't think so. I think, anybody can win on any given day. But this is where I feel because Duke ended up losing, James Madison University gets in. I mentioned this ESPN rankings. This is where they have the All-State Playoff Predictor. And before we get in, go to Salem Surround. If you want to go to the QR code, click the QR code. It'll take you to salemsurround.com/San Antonio. If you want to make the phone call, 210-526-3635. The best thing about Salem Surround is that 99% chance that your business is going to be successful goes away. It's 100% chance. It's a guarantee with Salem Surround, with digital marketing, the visuals, the effects, everything they provide for you at Salem Surround is going to catapult your business to number one in any playoff business market. 99% no, 100% yes. Salem Surround, 210-526-3635, proud sponsors of the Sports Answer. Jacob, this is the latest ESPN All-State Playoff Predictor poll. As you can see, the teams that I mentioned are there. You've got 99% from Tulane all up. All those teams are going to be there.
Right.
The only question is James Madison. ESPN feels like I do. James Madison has done enough all year. They've Duke's win does not get them in. I feel James Madison does get in. Then you've got that Notre Dame at 95%. A little bit of then you've got Alabama like, 18% away from 100. Miami's only at 22%. So to me, I feel I agree with ESPN saying our 12 are ready. Our 12 are in. So this is their playoff ranking. Now, I'm going to take you to On3 playoff rankings, which kind of made me flip my desk a little bit. This is their playoff ranking. They essentially have Duke in at 12, and they've got Miami up at number 9, leaving Notre Dame out, leaving Alabama. Is it Notre Dame? No, Notre Dame's, I'm sorry, leaving Alabama out is one of the teams that's out right there. So On3 has this. I'll go back to ESPN. They have that. On3 does not have James Madison in there. So that's where Miami comes in. What do you think about these rankings from ESPN first? Then we'll go to On3.
I'm going to go with the On3 one, Rudy. I like that.
You like that kind of chaos.
I like that kind of chaos. I'm going to go with that. That one left Alabama out, right? Yeah.
They did leave Alabama out. And again, they left James Madison out, who's a Sun Belt Conference. They feel Duke deserves the ACC at large bid.
Yeah. And I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. You know what I mean? When I was backing up the Texas fans, hey, I thought you said a 3-loss team can't get in. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. That's the only reason why I like this one.
Well, you like it and you get it because 3-loss team is out, but the 5-loss team is in with Duke.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. But
I mean, that is hard right there. That's
it is.
super hard, man. I don't agree with on three. I think Bama does get in. I don't think Duke deserves to be in the final 12 of the CFP. Again, Miami makes the best case out of everybody. If they want to leave James Madison out and put Miami in, okay. I can understand that, but I don't like it. James Madison deserves it. They've been deserving all year long. It's going to be fun. That's all I can say is that it's going to be fun when it comes down to everything, man. It's going to be awesome. It's Jacob Canziano of Grading the Market, Rudy Campos Jr. here for the Sports Answer. Be sure to go to Answer Now TV on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button so you get the Sports Answer every week, every Sunday. You're going to get the Sports Answer. We're going to try to hit up with some more content, especially with CFP rolling around. We're going to try to get almost a show every other day. That way we can give you guys covered on CFP. Salem Surround 210-526-3635. Quick commercial break. On the way back, we've got the Cheeseman, we've got the Spurs Cheeseman, and our NFL Week 14 picks. Who's going to win? We saw the Cowboys playoff hopes go up in smoke against Detroit. Can anything else happen? We'll see when we get back here on the Sports Answer.
In San Antonio, your business deserves more than noise. It deserves to be seen. SEO, social media, digital ads. If you're not showing up, you're losing customers. At Salem Surround San Antonio, we design digital strategies that work, from web design and SEO to social, podcast, and display ads. Real tools. Real results. Let's amplify your brand. Start today with a free digital presence evaluation. Salem Surround San Antonio, your brand, everywhere it matters.
SalemSurround.com/San Antonio 210-526-3635. Call Salem Surround today because why? Your business needs to get up to the top of the mountain. The only way to do that is by calling Salem Surround today, 210-526-3635. Proud sponsors of the Sports Answer. Also go to Answer Now TV, hit that subscribe button. Joined by Jacob Canziano of Grading the Market. All you got to do is to watch Grading the Market. Just search it on YouTube or go to Box Score Studios TV. You can catch it there on YouTube. That is Grading the Market with Jacob Canziano and Anthony Turk. You ready for the Cheeseman, Jacob?
Let's do it.
So, like, I hear about the Spurs this y Spurs that, y como que esto y esta, pero I never hear about the real Spurs Cheeseman. Nina, por favor.
All right, this is the Spurs Cheeseman. We got a few minutes before we got to get into our picks here. Now, widely expected. I mean, we talked about, I remember when Derek and I were talking about this, I mentioned this years ago. I said, Giannis is not going to stay with the Bucks. They got a title. They're on their way down. They traded for Dame Lillard, which at the time was the worst trade that they could have ever made, was for Damian Lillard. Hoping to keep Giannis. It didn't work out. Dame's not there anymore. This team is just in shambles, the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis, I predicted 2 years ago, was going to want to be out of Milwaukee. And lo and behold, this summer, he did want to be out of Milwaukee. Now, the Spurs are always going to be mentioned because they have a bunch of talented young guys. Plus, they have a whole bunch of picks. Would it surprise you that I have the Spurs number 4 on my Giannis landing spots?
Wow, 4. I thought it would have been a little bit higher with all the assets that they have. Like you said, they do have a lot of stuff. Picks, they have talent still coming up and stuff like that. I'm not saying that I'm behind it. I'm just saying that the Spurs have a lot of stuff to give up if they wanted to.
So I've got him 4 because I've got the New York Knicks number 1, which shouldn't be nobody's surprise. He wants to go to New York. He loves the Knicks. They've got some moves that they can make to get him there. Number 2, I have Oklahoma City. I think if he wants to win now, you go to the current NBA champion. Oklahoma has so many draft picks. They've got so much young talent that they can definitely bring a package together, send it to Milwaukee. Milwaukee can do the rebuild. Number 3, Jacob, I surprises or not, I have the Los Angeles Lakers.
You actually have the Lakers up there?
I have the Lakers at number 3 right now. And the only reason why is because they are moving on from LeBron James. Now, I'm not saying LeBron James gets traded to Milwaukee. That's definitely not going to happen. But I think that if you pair Luka Doncic and Giannis Antetokounmpo, that brings Showtime back. They can build something there in LA. Where I have LA number 3, in my reality standpoint, I have the Spurs number 3, and I only have New York, OKC, and San Antonio as the only landing spots. That's my reality. But overall, a reason why I have the Lakers 3 is because it's the Lakers, man. I mean,
Yeah.
people want to get traded there. It's a huge market. It's Los Angeles. It's, the purple and gold. It's the tradition. It's everything. I have them 3 because I think they'll try to make a case, and they're going to have to make a 3-way deal. They're going to have to add a third team somewhere in there. But lo and behold, the San Antonio Spurs, tons of picks, man. If they want 4 first rounders, the Spurs should give them 4 first rounders. If they want young talent, they've got young talent. What cost for you is Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Man, you know what? That's a tough one. And no, I've been telling everybody about this. I think they've already mentioned that if they wanted to do this thing, they would either have to part ways with a Dylan Harper or a Steph Castle. I'm all okay. I've always told people, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go the Castle route. I'm actually kind of all right with parting with the Castle. The thing that I always add on though, it's the and what else, because it's just not going to be Castle for Giannis straight up and stuff like that. It's going to be maybe Keldon, Devin Vassell, and stuff like that, gutting this bench, that has got the Spurs to, what are they, 15-7 right now?
Yeah.
They're 15-7, where they're currently sitting in the fifth or sixth seed or something like that. They're doing that because of their depth, So if the Spurs were to try to do something like this and like just gut the bench, I think that we would actually regress instead of progress.
I'm glad you mentioned that because you're kind of right. I love Giannis, and you know what? If you've got an opportunity to go get a Giannis Antetokounmpo, you do it. I mean, it's just a matter of the cost. Now let's revisit a trade that happened last year with De'Aaron Fox. What did the Spurs give up? They gave up City Sissoko. They gave up a 2027 first round pick. They gave up picks. Zach Collins, Trey Jones are the only players that came out of the San Antonio Spurs. Now, for granted, they got a third team involved. Zach LaVine did go to Sacramento. So they could potentially get a third team involved again in a Giannis deal and not have to give up so many of your core assets. Personally,
but you got to remember though, Rudy, everybody knew that De'Aaron, well, if it was one of those things, if De'Aaron Fox actually wanted to come to San Antonio, so that affected that, big time.
I don't like to brag about it, but I like to remind people is that on a former show that we used to do back almost 3 years ago, we all said that De'Aaron Fox will be a San Antonio Spur. Derek Gervin is on record and on video saying it a year or two in advance before that trade even happened, that De'Aaron Fox will be a Spur, and he knew because, well, he knows the family, and well, the family said that he will be in San Antonio. So, not saying we're going to predict the Giannis thing, but it has something similar. De'Aaron forced his way out. Giannis is going to force his way out.
Mm-hmm.
What does Milwaukee want? If Giannis wants to go to New York, he's going to go to New York. They're going to make something happen. If he says, you know what, I want to go to San Antonio, they're going to look into the Spurs very deep, and they're probably going to take whatever they can get. Right. So if you can keep the core of Fox, Castle, Harper, and then get Giannis, are you okay with moving guys like Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, maybe Carter Bryant? Carter Bryant was, definitely a top pick in this year's draft. He has promise. Could you move him and maybe 4 first-round picks? That the Bucks are not going to take that. They're going to want one of the Spurs' key pieces. Let's be real. They're going to want one of their key pieces. But what's the price? I mean, before we move on to Week 14 NFL here, give me your final trade package for Giannis.
Okay, well, you have to give something, right? And I already mentioned Castle.
We'll say 4 first rounds.
Okay, so we're starting off with 4 first round.
Max. Okay. Maybe they'll give 2 or 3, but 4 max, no more than 4.
4 first rounders. I'm giving them Devin.
Okay.
Jeremy. And I'm not saying that I'm just saying that I'm not saying that I would do this or whatever, but if I was had my general manager hat on, this is what I would do, and I would say Castle. So
So
that would be
Castle, Devin,
Castle,
Jeremy, and
Devin,
4
Jeremy.
first rounders. I think that gets it done. I really do. I think
Yeah.
that does get it done. So lo and behold, I mean, the trade packages are going to be on the internet, on Twitter, X, whatever it is, and they're gonna be releasing every
Oh,
day probably to see what happens.
oh, they've been flying around left and right and stuff like that. Ever since this came out, man. The Spurs. The Spurs fans. That's one thing they love to do. They love to throw their GM hat on and just go at it, man. So ever since this happened, and
Yeah.
they put that hat on quick. It's been fun to watch on X and stuff like that.
10 being a guarantee, 1 being a not guarantee. What's the scale you think Giannis becomes a Spur?
Put me down for 4.
4? Yeah, very unlikely, I think. I'm gonna say probably a 6. I'm gonna go a little bit above average.
All right.
I think the chances are there. I don't have a whole lot of faith in it. So
Right.
that's our Spurs Cheeseman for the day. We got one last thing to do. It's going to be our Week 14 NFL pick. So the Cowboys lost to the Lions. Goodbye, Cowboy in playoffs. They've got to win the division in order for them to get in. Moving on, Seahawks and Falcons. Who do you got, Eric or Jacob?
It's funny that before we go, it's funny that you mentioned that, because with that loss now, they're going to need, the Cowboy fans are going to need the Eagles to lose as much as possible. So all Cowboy fans are now going to become Charger fans this coming up week.
Who do you got, Seahawks or Falcons?
Put me down for the Seahawks.
I'll take the Seahawks. Steelers and Ravens.
Steelers and Ravens. Put me down for the Ravens, please.
I'm going to go with the Steelers in this one. I think Baltimore struggled a little bit throughout the weeks. Titans and Browns in the toilet bowl.
I'll just go with the Browns.
Browns, yeah. I think Cam Ward maybe does a little bit better today, but give me the Browns. Browns are at home. Colts and Jaguars has a lot of significance in that division.
I've been a big fan of the Colts. They've been doing everything. They're positive. They're going in a good trajectory this year, so I'm gonna go with them.
Yeah, Coach Gio always gives me crap about saying Daniel Jones is the better quarterback over Kyler Murray in that draft, and this year he's proved it. I'm actually going to go with the Jaguars at home. Give me the Jaguars at home.
I got you.
Commanders and Vikings.
That's a hard one, actually. I'm gonna go. Put me down for the Commanders.
I'm going to take
just to make the Cowboy fans mad. So.
I'm going to take the Commanders as well. Dolphins and Jets.
Yeah, Jets.
You're going Jets. I'm going to go with the Dolphins in this one. Saints and Buccaneers.
Buccaneers, just because it looks like the Saints are tanking or something like that. I don't know what's going on over there, but
I'll take the Buccaneers. Bengals and Bills.
Ooh.
Burrow's back.
Burrow's back. Yeah, I was gonna say Burrow's back. You know what? Keep me with the Bills.
I'm gonna take the Bills at home. Broncos and Raiders.
Broncos.
I'll take the Broncos. Bears and Packers. Bears are number 1 in the conference. Holy cow!
That's an interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Packers still.
I'm gonna take the Packers. I can't ever pick the Bears. Rams and Cardinals.
Rams.
Yeah, Rams have struggled lately bad, man. But give me the Rams for a bounce back. Texans and Chiefs in Sunday Night Football.
That's going to be an interesting one, man. The Chiefs, they haven't been looking as like they normally do these past couple of years. But go ahead and put me down for the Texans.
Texans, I'm going to go. The Texans have a very stingy defense, but give me the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs come out on top on this one at home. And then the Monday night, your team is both playing against the Eagles and Chargers.
I'm rolling with the Chargers. But
Definitely.
you know what? The Eagles have been struggling a little bit lately. So, and the Chargers, you got to remember, Justin Herbert actually broke his left hand. It's his non-throwing hand, but that's something to keep an eye on. Stuff like that. I believe he also had a surgery this week or so.
He did, and it's crazy that he's going to be just right back on the field with that broken hand that he had surgery on. So I'm going to take the Eagles this week. I think they separate themselves from everybody in that division if they really can. So give me the Eagles this week over the Chargers. That is our Week 14 NFL picks. And, man, we're going to see later on today about CFP, those rankings coming out. We're going to see who gets left in or who's left in, who's left out. We're going to see, does Duke get that automatic bid? I hope not. Don't cause that much chaos on a great NFL Sunday. You got to be sure to go to Salem Surround, click the QR code, or call 210-526-3635, salemsurround.com/San Antonio. That way your business can get to the top of the mountain. They won't be left out of any college football playoff, nothing like that. They're a guaranteed title-winning organization that is Salem Surround to help your business grow every day, all the time. For Jacob Canziano, it is Rudy Campos Jr. The Answer Now TV on YouTube. Click that. That way you can get the sports answer every single Sunday. You got those sports questions. We got the sports answer. We'll see you guys next week.
You've been listening to The Sports Answer with Rudy Campos Jr. Today's show was brought to you by Salem Surround San Antonio, helping local businesses grow with digital strategies that work. Visit salemsurround.com/San Antonio to learn more. We'll see you next time on The Sports Answer.